Hello, everybody. Ciao, ragazzi. We're back with another episode of the TheMilanGuys podcast, our 15th episode since April. I'm host Luca LaPorta. Unfortunately, Mike, other guy of the TheMilanGuys, could not be here today. He had to work. Unfortunately, he has to miss again. However, I'm joined by two very special guests today. So first off, we have Jurgen Zeno. He's actually one of the admins of the TheMilanGuys. Jurgen, how's it going, man?
Good, how are you?
I'm good, man. Thanks for coming on. And we also have a very special guest today. We have Sportsnet. And for those who don't know what Sportsnet is, who don't live in Canada, Sportsnet is one of the main sports networks on TV for us here in Canada, and they also show Premier League. They used to show Champions League and stuff. We have James Sharman here. James, it's an absolute honor to have you on here. How's it going?
Thanks, fellas. Yeah, happy to be on. Looking forward to it.
Awesome. So I'm just going to get right into it, guy. I know it's a TheMilanGuys podcast, but I know we have a lot of Azzurri fans listening in today. Let's get right into it. James, you guys covered at Sportsnet both legs of the Azzurri and Sweden in the qualifier. What are a couple of quick thoughts on what happened on the two legs?
I think that's something that'll be debated for many, many years in Italy, just what happened to this qualifying process. Number one, the whole format is at fault, right? There's no way Italy should have been drawn with Spain, right? In the actual in the group phase, that is ridiculous. That doesn't serve anyone well. These are two great teams that should be, in different groups. But it happened. The Azzurri's, coefficients weren't good enough. They dropped down. It happened. Okay, so then they meet Sweden, who's a very good team. Let's not forget that in qualifying they beat France. They pipped the Dutch. They're a good team even without Ibra. They're an organized team. They're defensive. And in a two-leg playoff, anything can really happen. So you factor those in with the fact that, with respect, this is not a vintage Italian team. There's some very good players and some very good youth coming through. But right now, it's not vintage. Adding to that, a manager that I don't know what happened there. He lost the plot entirely. I mean, my God, some of his selections were ludicrous, even through the qualifying campaign. He goes to the 4-2-4. Spain just smack Italy, show them up. And then from that point on, it seems like he lost the whole team. And we saw that really in evidence, I think, in these two games. In particular, that last game, when he bowed the pressure, went back to a 3-5-2. He brings in Jorginho, who should have been in there from the start, but he kept saying, he doesn't work in my tactics. Well, suddenly, in the biggest game in many, many years, he gets his first start. It's ridiculous. And how, late in the game, we see Daniele De Rossi arguing with the coach, one of the coaches, because he's saying, bring on Insigne, we need a goal. So there's many layers to this onion, right? But I think it goes a long way back. But the short term, it's down to that manager. I'm pretty sure with Conte or a different manager, Italy would be in the World Cup next year.
I think so too. And, you did bring a good point that Italy did get it was unlucky to draw with Spain. If you look at the groups of the qualifying, the Azzurri were the only, popular big team to have another big team in their group. Germany had nobody. England had an easier group. These other teams had easier groups but I'm not going to make excuses, but you are right. The World Cup is not the same. Spain and Italy both have to be there for great competition, and it does suck. Also in the playoff, I think the Azzurri did get a little unlucky with Sweden. I think Sweden was probably the best.
For sure.
I think Sweden's better than Northern Ireland and Ireland. I think they're better, and Greece.
Yep.
So, right?
In a Swedish team, you never rule out the Swedes, right? Because they're always going to be, like I said, organized. They're pretty disciplined. And now they're playing in top leagues. They have good technical ability, even without Ibra. And Italy, let's face it, man for man, Italy's a better team than Sweden. But we see it, every qualifying campaign for Euro, for World Cups, in a two-leg series in international football, you can neutralize a better team quite easily if you're organized. And we saw that in these last two games. And let's be honest, this second leg, Italy bossed that game. I thought they were actually very good. That's probably their best game in qualifying, was that second leg against Sweden. But Sweden defended valiantly. And Italy just didn't have that final touch, that final pass wasn't quite there. Now, if that's because they're missing that top quality striker, that might be the case. I don't know. Maybe if you put Insigne in there, that would have been a difference. I don't know. Hey, maybe a Balotelli call up at some point may have been the right thing, or maybe not, as the veterans may tell you. But I mean, there's so many, I think, question marks that another coach would have avoided. So for me, Ventura, he really dropped the ball here.
Yeah, I totally agree. And if every single Azzurri fan was listening to the show right now, I think 99.9% would agree with you. I don't know if you've heard, but Ventura also got fired on Wednesday.
Yeah, and isn't it tradition that usually they'll walk before then, right? I think
Wow.
that traditionally Italian coaches, if they fail, they'll walk themselves straight away. But this guy hung on for his, I guess, for a severance package or something.
Yep.
Which I understand to a certain point, but at the same point, there's a self-respect there as well. And wearing that Azzurri shirt carries with it a lot of weight. And I think the classy thing would have been for him to just walk away at the end of that match.
Yeah, and it's tough because when he is 70 years old, and honestly, and I say this, and I say this pretty confidently, that I don't think he's gonna get another job in Calcio. I don't think he's gonna get another job.
Not in Italy, no, for sure.
Well, at least not in Italy.
But why would he want to?
I don't even think a Serie C team would hire him right now.
Yeah, no. I think he's blacklisted. But I mean, you see some of these managers. Look at Arsene Wenger at Arsenal, right? He's approaching 70 now as well, and you wonder, why does he need this? He doesn't need the money. What does he want? This pressure, and there's this weird burning fire or this inner drive in these guys, which has made them successful coaches their entire careers. And it's something that I can't empathize with. I haven't got that, certainly. But so, he might not get another job, but this is a guy that probably wants another job. And he's one of those guys that probably cannot retire because he needs that fire of game day. It's a little bit sad, really, I think.
Yeah, and it's just, and you did say with success, the big problem was Ventura never actually had any success.
It's a good point. Actually, I saw today, wasn't it, De Laurentiis came out and said, man, I fired him in Series C.
Yeah.
And this guy was, in charge of our country, which kind of spoke for itself.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just it's embarrassing for me because I have, I've been a Azzurri fan. I'm full blown. I'm born in Canada, but I'm full blown both sides Italian. I have friends who are Portuguese, English. They're all going, and right now it's like I'm okay. I guess I'm okay right now. I have lost some over the past few days, and by December, January, I should be okay. But then when May hits and June hits, I'm gonna be. Oh gosh!
Look, it's gonna suck for you. I hate to say it, mate. It really is. But I've been there, right? 94, 08 with Euro as well. When England didn't qualify, it's like, yeah, this is brutal, man. That sucks. But it's not until that momentum starts building and the hype starts building and you start seeing the first few games, you think, man, we're not even there to compete. I wouldn't even get a chance for my heart to be broken. That's disappointing, and it will kill you. It really will. But on the other side, sometimes it allows you to watch a World Cup from a distance without any bias and actually kind of appreciate it for what it is, as opposed to being blinded and blinkered by your own passion.
Exactly. And you know what? It's just, I might see right now. I say, I'm probably not going to watch that much. Maybe I'll just watch a few games with my friends. And I do write, so I might just kind of pick a team and just with no bias, just kind of write about them or analyze them. Okay, too.
Let me ask you this: what do you think of this this proposed tournament that will go on around the same time with the failed teams in the States? I think the USA, Italy. Would you bother watching that?
Okay, here's, and I saw that, and I tweeted out a few days ago. I said, okay, this is kind of embarrassing, but however, it would give a nice chance for some young guys to come up after the season's done and see and then we can see what they can do, and then if they perform well, they could be the future of the Azzurri kind of thing. Yeah,
that's a good point. Yeah, it would be a developmental tournament, perhaps, right?
Yeah, and there are good, like if Chile and Holland, there's some good teams there, and the USA is pretty decent too. Like they shockingly didn't qualify.
Yeah, for sure. No, I mean there are some decent teams, and I suppose it'll be for those who aren't at the World Cup, it'll be somewhat interesting. But I mean, if it's going to run concurrently with the World Cup, I mean, outside of Italian fans and Irish fans and American fans, no one's going to watch it, right?
Yeah,
because they'll be so focused on the World Cup.
Yeah, that's the thing. But I guess they're thinking, are there enough fans in these countries to get ratings for it? Maybe a friendly tournament. I don't know. Maybe I think you just give the players an off season. Just give them 2 months off, whatever, and hopefully they go.
I agree with that, actually. Some of these guys, they play so much football anyway. And if you give them a summer off, maybe when you start qualifying for Euro, which isn't that far off, believe it or not, maybe that gives the likes of Italy a bit of an edge. At this point, you need that, right? Yeah,
exactly. And I just had a quick question, going back to the Italy-Sweden. what are your thoughts on Ciro Immobile? He's one of the most informed forwards in the world right now. He's been involved in like 20 goals.
Yeah, it's crazy, yeah.
And, Andrea Bellotti, he's kind of like the golden boy of Italian football right now. He scored, I think, 24 goals last season in Serie A. And they couldn't get it done. Bellotti actually, I don't know if you remember, he missed a header 10 minutes in.
Yeah, just one of the posts, and that would have changed everything, wouldn't it?
It would have changed absolutely everything. And then I think about it, I did tweet this out. I said, Inzaghi scores that. You know what I mean? Inzaghi scores that.
Yeah, no, it's a really good point, Luca. I think, though, you have the Inzaghis of the world, right? And then Del Pieros and even the Baggios. And they were a different level, right? They were truly world-class. The Immobiles, Bellotti's, I think Bellotti especially might well be world-class one day. But he's not there yet. He's still learning. And Immobile, man, he hit some great chances. I thought he played really well. Him and Jorginho seem to work quite well together. But, he's a counter-attacking type of player, isn't he? Whereas, Sweden sat so far deep, so deep in those two games, it was very hard for him to find spaces, which I think was the issue there. It's too bad Zaza wasn't healthy because, I can't believe I'm saying this, haven't seen him last year in England, but he's been very, very good this year, right? And maybe he would have been a bit more ruthless in front of goal. It was just a strange one. It really was. I thought the Gabbiadini selection made no sense to me. I guess Bellotti must have been hurt more than we thought. Because Gabbiadini hasn't been very good this year at Southampton at all. He's only started the last 4 games, been quite inconsistent. There must be more out there than Gabbiadini, I think.
I think Balotelli's out there, and I don't understand how he doesn't get a call up.
You know what? I've heard about. Listen, I watch Balotelli a lot, right? And at his best, he is world class at his best, but he's an absolute maniac, right? And from what I understand, a lot of the veterans on the Italian team, Buffon, I think De Rossi, Chiellini, they actually went to the manager and said, "Do not pick him. He's a distraction. He's a headache. We don't want him." And when you see what happened at Liverpool and at Man City, you understand that that's just what he is, a big distraction. And even at Nice, he's scoring goals, but there's still a lot of baggage around him, right? So he's got to grow up. And I wonder if he'll be a bit like Antonio Cassano, who was a complete nightmare for a long time, but eventually he got it. He grew up, he matured, and he became a very, very good player. And you hope, if you're Italian, that that's what happens to Balotelli, but I do have my reservations.
Yeah, I honestly, personally, I fell in love with Mario Balotelli after the 2012 Euro when he scored that nice goal against Ireland. It was kind of
next big thing, right?
Yeah, the overhead volley, and he scored those two. The first one was a header, but the second goal, a beautiful goal against Germany, and not against these minnow, against Lahm and against Neuer. He was, I think, 21 years old at the time.
Yeah.
And here's my thing with it, and it's kind of funny because he actually joined Milan after that. He actually joined Milan after that. And it's funny because he actually did very well with Milan. He scored, I think it was 30 goals in 50 Serie A games, which is pretty good for a team that was bad. He did well. They sold him to Liverpool because we needed the money at the time. We had no financial support at all. We had to have 20 million euros was big for the team. And that's why I sold him to Liverpool. And I think Balotelli kind of got thrown into a crappy situation at Liverpool because Liverpool wasn't good that year either.
Right.
And I think there wasn't really room for him to really shine.
Well, they weren't, and obviously they were trying to replace Luis Suarez, and that was never going to be easy, right? But at the same time, I look at Balotelli's history, and he's got no one to blame but himself. He's had the opportunity to play some pretty big teams, and at Man City he had the opportunity there, to be a go-to player for many, many years. At Milan as well, and all these other clubs, it's always someone else's fault, right? It's never his fault, and you've got to start at some point look in the mirror and say, okay, what is going wrong? What am I doing wrong here? And apparently he's a joker. He's a fun guy to be around. He's not a bad guy. He's just very immature. And I hope he figures it out because you're right, man. Like I said, at Milan he is very, very good. On his day at Man City, man, there were times when he would just dominate matches. He was incredible. But then you'd hear that he was setting off fireworks in his bathroom or throwing darts at players, doing stupid things like that, right? Or driving his camouflage Lamborghini around town and getting tickets. So he's a bit of an icon at Man City. There's a lot of myth around him, but I hope he figures it out because, man, like I said before, off camera here, we were talking and sport should be entertainment. And he is one of the great entertainers of world football. And I want to see him. I don't want to see him stuck at Nice when no one watches him. I want to see him in a big club and in a really legitimate top 3 or 4 league.
Yeah. And again, I've always loved. I always will. And on Twitter, I've been advocating for Ventura to give Balotelli a chance all this time because, as you were saying before, Ciro Immobile is a counterattack guy. Balotelli's he has so much technical ability. He's actually very good on the ball himself. He can actually carry the ball, and he can actually take on defenders one-on-one himself.
Mm-hmm.
I think he'd be a player that actually would have been effective against Sweden, how they had 11 guys behind the ball. I think he would have actually been good because he kind of cause. He's a big guy, right? He's big. He disturbs defenders, if you know what I mean. Like he gets under their skin, and he makes them lose their focus. And
you're right, but I mean, it'll take a brave manager to bring him back on it. I mean, now that Buffon's retired and some of these older players, Bazagli, are retiring, and it's going to be a new breed, new generation. Obviously, there's an opening for him because he's still not very old. He's still quite a young guy. I wonder if it's going to be Ancelotti in charge of the team, which is the rumor. Who knows if that's true or not? Who knows if it's the right fit? I don't know. But if it's him, I mean, he's a very good man manager, is Carlo Ancelotti. You can question tactically in the last little while, at Bayern Munich in particular. You could question him perhaps. And some people are saying that he's, from a bygone era, he's being a bit dated now. But I still think he's smart enough to figure it out. And players like playing for him. And maybe he's someone that could get a Balotelli on the right page and would have the courage. And he's got the resume to take a bit of a gamble and say, you know what, I'm going to try and bring this guy into camp and see what I can do with him. Actually, might be the one guy that could do that.
His coach at Nice, Favre, I think his name is Favre. His coach at Nice actually said that he's one of the leaders of the team now, and he is one of the leaders of that team. Apparently, he's been like I watch, the odd game there. Apparently, he's been very, very mature since he's joined there at Nice.
Right.
But here's the thing:
I think he's getting.
Yeah, go ahead, Jürgen.
I think he's getting more mature as he ages, but I think it's just like a case of too little, too late. You know what I mean? Like if he had figured out his behavioral issues earlier in his career, I think he'd probably be one of the best strikers in the world right now. You know what I mean? Because he has the talent. Yeah, it's just the behavioral issues that was a detriment.
Bridges. I think he's embarrassed some pretty big name managers, right? And that scares people off. He embarrassed Mancini, obviously. He embarrassed, I guess Brendan Rodgers, and then Jurgen Klopp had no time for him whatsoever and ditched him pretty quickly. Yeah. So, a lot of managers, a lot of these guys still have that ego that they think they can redeem a player and turn a player around, and that is still, seductive to a lot of managers. But enough big name guys have been hurt by this guy to suggest that it'll take a brave manager to take another chance. But like you said, at Nice, maybe he has grown up, maybe he has, and his goal scoring numbers are very impressive indeed. We're not hearing about as many stories about him off the field. So perhaps it is the new and improved Mario Balotelli. Let's hope so, because like I said, I want to see him play. And at Euro 2012, I think we all thought, man, this guy's going to be that number 9 for Italy for a very long time. And it didn't work out.
Mm-hmm. It's just like I think he has a knack for scoring in big games. He has before in his career, and that's why my problem was with not bringing him up. We have guys. No offense to Ciro Immobile, I'm a big fan of his, but he's never actually played in a big game in his life yet. That was the biggest game he's ever played in. He was a bust at Borussia Dortmund. He didn't work out at Sevilla, but now he's at Lazio again. He's scoring so many goals. Never really played that big game on a huge stage with 80,000 people sitting there. And Belotti too. Belotti's 23, plays for Torino, and I feel like we just need a guy we needed a guy like Balotelli. And Zaza, it's too bad Zaza was not healthy because Zaza's kind of that guy who gets his shirt dirty. You know what I mean? Like he's all over the field. Yes. And he's second in scoring in the Liga behind Messi. So
he's had an unreal year, which is like a big contrast to what he was doing in the Prem and all that. So
and to be fair, West Ham wasn't that great though when he was there.
I mean,
no, they were terrible. They were terrible, but I mean, he was part of the issue there as well, though. I mean, when he arrived, I think a lot of us thought, wow, that's a pretty good signing for West Ham, for Bilic. Well done. And then he just went downhill, and he wasn't given much of a chance either. In fairness, to really find his feet. It takes players often a year to find their feet when they change leagues, and the Prem is so different to the Serie A and to Spain, right? It does take time to adjust, unless you're, a complete freak like a Jesus or someone who just adapts seamlessly. But this guy was never given a chance, so I think he was hard done by at West Ham.
Yeah, and going back to what you said about Gabbiadini too, Gabbiadini has also never really played in a big match in his life either, and he puts him in the second leg of a do or die game at the San Siro with 80,000 people watching. And Gabbiadini, he wasn't terrible. Like he has a good first touch. That's his kind of main That's his main, like, I guess his best quality. His first time. He's got a very powerful left leg, too. He's got a lot of juice in that left leg. But I just don't think Gabbiadini should be starting a do-or-die game for the Azzurri. Is that how low the Azzurri are now? And he's not even starting. He's not even doing well for Southampton. So it's like – and Ventura obviously got it all wrong. And Carlo Tavecchio, the president of FIGC, he announced that he's making an announcement on the 28th, November 28th, on the new coach.
Is he confident that it'll be him making the announcement? Is he safe? Because
honestly,
he shouldn't be there either, right?
Well, I mean, I think they asked him to walk and he rejected.
Yeah, so, I mean, so where's the leadership in the FIGC? Tell him to walk.
It's a lot of political. There's a lot of political aspects to it. Some, I just don't. There's so much more than we see. That's the issue. There's so much more. Tavecchio should not have a job. He really should not. However, they might be in his contract that they can't fire him for a certain amount of years. I don't know.
Oh, it could well be, yeah. You're right. In Italian soccer, there's so much bureaucracy, and it's a real old boys club, isn't it? More than other leagues. And we saw Germany in the early 2000s reinvent themselves after some poor performances, although they qualified. England's done a similar thing in recent years. We've seen the Dutch are going to do it as well. US soccer is going to probably do it as well. All these teams that have failed have kind of rebuilt themselves. You look at Italy and you wonder, okay, yes, they need to rebuild as well, but who's going to head that? Who's going to lead that? Because there's so many personal agendas at play at the top of Italian football that it's very hard to see change happening, and that could be a real shame because Italy should be at World Cups, right? I mean, they are one of the iconic symbols of World Cups, and when that thing kicks off next year, at first it's going to be like, yeah, it's not quite the same without Italy doing whatever they're doing, good or bad. There's always a storyline, a narrative around Italy at tournaments, good or bad. They're always one of the main talking points, and I think we'll miss that.
Yeah, exactly, and that's the thing. We wonder. We have 4 stars in our logo, right? That's the thing.
Yeah.
And I'm not a huge fan of how they did it. How there's so many spots for the other continents. I do wish there were more spots for European teams because they are
100%. Yep.
They are the strongest, right? And no offense to these teams who, kudos to them, they qualified. But no one wants to watch a team like Tunisia, right? It's like a team I wish that there was room for another European team, like someone like Jurgen here in the show. He's actually Albanian, but I think Albania beats Tunisia, for example.
Yeah,
we got screwed with our group because we were with Spain and Italy. If we were in Germany's group or Portugal's group, we'd get second place, I think. So we kind of
Albania is definitely a team on the rise. They're a good team, but don't worry. Give it a couple of years' time, right? And there'll be a 48-team World Cup, and everyone's going to qualify. So, this will end up, and that's a different topic, I guess, for a different show. I mean, that's ludicrous to start with, but it is going to change.
It is ludicrous. I don't even want to talk about that because I'm not a huge fan of that expansion either. I'm really not a big fan of it at all.
No, me neither.
Man, there are going to be some bad games.
Yeah, there's going to be
bad games.
Like Zimbabwe versus Madagascar on a Friday.
Exactly.
On a Friday afternoon. So just go into it too, and like you mentioned, just a few more topics. Then we'll cut the Azzurri talk, and hopefully I can move on from it maybe one day. But and you mentioned Jorginho. Ventura kept saying, "Oh," and he's said in Italian all the time. "Oh no, he doesn't fit my technical. He doesn't fit the play style." What play style? what play? What? Jorginho's literally, and I say this with no bias, but he's one of the best informed midfielders in the world right now. His passing ability is starts. He's like 95% every single game for Napoli.
Well, I mean, who's been the best team so far in the Serie A this season? Napoli, right? Yeah. And Jorginho and Insigne are a large reason for that.
Of course.
So why wouldn't you pair them up in the national team when you're struggling? It makes no sense to me at all. I get the impression Ventura is such an old school guy that perhaps the thought of bringing in a non-Italian, so to speak, might not sit well with him, which is such backwards thinking in modern football. And you're not helping yourself because, he should have started off from the beginning. He's been great in Serie A, and we saw he was the best player in the field in that second leg. He fit in there beautifully, right? Yep. And especially in that first half anyway. And, that proved that, he actually does work at the tactics quite well. So why wouldn't you have given him a chance earlier? Just pig-headedness. Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense that you don't play a guy in one, not even a friendly, not anything. He didn't play him at all. He didn't even call him up. And then you call him up because he must have been forced. Someone must have told him from above.
I think he was just worried that Brazil would call him up.
Maybe.
So he kind of wanted to get him a cap so he couldn't go to Brazil. Because if he didn't get called up for the qualifiers at all, Brazil, I think 100% would have called him up for the summer. Like,
and the problem is that Marco Verratti, the only reason why Jorginho played was because Marco Verratti got the second yellow card on Friday, which ruled him out for the second leg. And Marco Verratti's been incredibly underwhelming for the Azzurri his whole career.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's a shame, too, because he's one of the best midfielders in the world, but when he puts on like the Italy shirt, like he just crumbles for whatever reason.
I'm not sure what it is. He's kind of a prima donna. He's kind of one of those prima donna players that he's really good for PSG and he makes a lot of money and he comes to the national team and he thinks he's one of the best players to ever put on the shirt ever when he's not.
It's called the English disease.
You know what?
Happens to every single player in England.
True. It seems like these guys all perform in the Premier League and they go to the national team and then you see their true colors, basically.
Yeah, they shrink down 2 inches, right?
Yeah.
It's incredible.
England looked pretty decent with Dele Alli, Harry Kane. That might be a thing there. I don't know. I mean, England usually do choke in the big stage, on the big stage. And we'll see what kind of group they get in a few months.
Oh yeah, no, they're just not good enough. As simple as that, you know. I mean, there's some youth coming through there. They've done well at the U17s and U20s in recent months. There's definitely some talent there, but they're a couple of echelons below the top teams. You know, they might go on a run at the World Cup, might make a last 16, maybe. You know, the quarterfinal would be incredible, but they're going to be in tough, I think, even to get out of a group, just given what they've done recently.
For sure. Okay, so the last question I have, and it's kind of a good one. I can maybe do a little discussion for James and Jürgen you can talk to. If you're Carlo Tavecchio, and you have options, right? You have options, and you can even include guys who have a job right now in the options. Who's your boss for the Azzurri? Who are you announcing out of Ancelotti, Antonio Conte, who's been linked, Fabio Capello, who just left his team in China today? Who just left? Isn't that weird? He just left his team.
Did he really? Eh? How convenient.
How convenient. Or someone like I'm pretty sure Roberto Mancini was linked, but I'm pretty sure he took a job in China as well, or Russia, or
I think he's with Zenit.
Zenit, okay. So, who would you pick, James? Who would be your main guy to rebuild it? It's not even rebuild, more of a retool it.
Right. If I could pick any of those guys, I mean, listen, Capello, that ship sailed, right? He was one of the greatest managers. We know that, but his ship sailed. Bye, go. I'm not sure what Mancini's really accomplished. If I could pick any guy, it would be going back to Conte for sure, because Conte got that team playing above themselves. Remember the last Euro, right? That was one of the worst Italian squads we've seen for a long time, and they did pretty well in the end. He had that team, just that self-belief, that never-say-die attitude, right? And he had a system. They had an identity, which they hadn't had for a while, and they lost straight away the minute he left. So if you can get him back in there, I don't know if you can, because I think he's leaving Chelsea, but I think he's going back to the Serie A. With whoever, maybe Inter or whoever it's going to be. But if I could pick any of those guys, I would throw as much money as possible at Antonio Conte and say, can you please do it again? Because he did it before with less.
He did it with our two strikers in the Euro was Eder and Graziano Pelle.
Yeah, exactly.
He took Germany to penalties with Giaccherini in the line.
Yeah, our midfield. And here's the thing. Our midfield against Germany in 2016 was Sturaro, who doesn't even play, who never plays for Juve. And when he does, he plays at right back. So we had Giaccherini, Sturaro, and Parolo in the midfield against Germany, the World Cup champions. And we took them. We could have beat them. We should have beat them. We should have beat them. And we did it. And that's why Conte, honestly, I'll admit that I was wrong. Before the World Cup, or Euro Cup, sorry, I said, I thought, all right, I'm going to look at my old team. I see him saying, Conte, what are you doing? These selections are brutal. We're going to get killed in the Euro. And then he proved me wrong, because he's good at gelling a group together. He can bring big guys together. And Florenzi made a comment during the Euro Cup, and he said, we know everybody's going to be with our eyes closed. And that was the big – Conte had everybody, okay, you're going to be here, and when you get the ball, you're going to be here. So they basically they can – play without the eyes, and they know exactly where everybody is, and that's big, and that's what happened with Ventura. Was I think that he didn't create a group. It seemed like everybody was against each other, and it seemed like the players were just probably sitting there saying, "What is this guy talking about?" And that,
they lost faith. They lost faith clearly throughout it, right? And these are veterans who, a couple of World Cup winners on that team, championship winners with Juventus, and they listened to a guy that was clearly underwater, drowning. And saying, give us some kind of direction here. What are we? Are we a 4-2-4? Are we a 3-5? What are we? Tell us. And they got no leadership there whatsoever.
Yeah, and it sucks because to see Buffon cry like that after. I don't know if you saw the interview or not.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
And it's like I'm 19, so I've only ever known Buffon from the Azzurri between the pipes, right? I've only ever known. And now, I'm really excited for Donnarumma to take the reins, to take it, and he's going to be the goalie for next 15, 20 years. And I'm not sure how much you've watched of Donnarumma. He's been an 18-year-old prodigy.
Yeah, no, of course. I mean, he could be playing goal now for Italy, right? It's not for Gigi. He's good enough. He's incredible.
Okay, yeah, exactly. So it'll be tough, and to see someone like De Rossi retire too, that actually brings a couple of tears in my eyes because I'm a huge fan of De Rossi, and he's one of those guys that he's aggressive, but he's a gentleman. I don't know if you heard, but he actually went to the Swedish bus after the game and said he was sorry about the fans booing their anthem, and he said congratulations, stuff like that.
Yeah, I heard that. Yeah, he's got class, and even seeing him on the bench, in that second half when he had a chance to go on and play for his country for maybe the last time, he goes, "No, that I am not what we need. You need that guy 2 spots down to my left." That says something. I mean, I haven't been the biggest fan of De Rossi over the years, just because I think he's a bit of a plastic hard man. He's a very good player. Don't get me wrong, but he'd be throwing an elbow on Brian McBride.
I remember in 2006. Yeah, he was
vicious, but then he'd flop and cry and roll around and just one of those guys. They rub me the wrong way, but I appreciate and I respect what he brought to the Azzurri. Clearly, he's a World Cup winner, right? I think he came off the bench, didn't he, in the final in 06 and played some minutes. He
scored a penalty in 06.
That's right. Yeah, of course. He
put it top corners. He was really nice. He was so young too. He had no beard. He was like 22 years old.
I was going to say he's got a great beard. He rocks the beard really well.
Yeah, he has a nice hair beard combo.
Yes, yeah.
But there's that. Okay, so now this is the very last question before I let you go. We'll talk. And then we'll talk another time. Last question: out of the starting 11 and the guys you saw Friday and Saturday, which players would you and who didn't retire? The players who you would cut from the Azzurri the next time around?
Any guys from there? Wow, that's a good question. Wow.
I have a few in mind.
Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, I wouldn't see. I don't really hold this. That I mean, it's on the players. Obviously, I understand that they failed, right? But I hold it on the manager more, and he made their lives very difficult. I don't think Gabbiadini's got much of a future there. That'd be the one, of course. I'm surprised he got picked up to begin with. Parolo's never done it for me either. I don't know why. He's never really stood up and told me that he deserves that shirt. Defensively, did Cleany retire? I forget. Yeah, did Bonucci retire?
No, Bonucci's staying.
Now, Bonucci, I mean, I'm a huge Bonucci fan, but he's been very average this year at Milan.
Yeah.
He better find his
form. He started to pick up his form recently, but he started very poorly,
Yeah. I mean, at his best, I mean, he's one of the best ball-playing centre-backs in the world, but he needs to wake up.
For sure.
Yeah, but I mean, I think there's a lot of kids coming through the system. You know more than me. But I think the future is actually quite bright for Italy, but it might take another tournament or so, another cycle to figure that out. So maybe we're not talking about Euro in a couple of years' time. Maybe we're talking about, the next World Cup at Qatar.
Yeah, exactly. And honestly, for me, a guy who I would get rid of is Antonio Candreva on the right side too.
I agree.
He is the most predictable player, I think, in the world. You know exactly what he's doing. He's putting a cross on his left foot or his right foot. It's not like he can't beat his guy one-on-one, and he had the one chance and he put it way over the net. Matteo Darmi, I'm not sure how much of a future he has either, honestly, because we have a lot of young fullbacks coming up in the rank.
Yeah, he was good in the first leg, I thought, though. He was one of the only bright spots in the first leg.
He was good in the first leg, for sure. Second leg, he kind of showed what he – and it sucks because he was playing out of position. He never actually played left wing back. At Torino, he played right wing back, and so he'd be on his strong right foot.
He plays left back for United, though, doesn't he?
He does.
He does.
I think Mourinho has played him on the right before, though, in place of Valencia.
I think he's better on the right, but he's somewhat capable of playing on the left. I think Spinazzola is probably going to take his place anyways by the next World Cup.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, there's the Corriere dello Sport in Italy. They're so confident that Ancelotti's the next coach that they actually made a lineup. They actually said that here's the predicted lineup that he would use. I'll just say it quickly before I let you go, James, and you can tell me how you showed it. Here's the lineup here. Let me just find it. It's pretty interesting. It's a 4-2-3-1. So it's kind of getting away from the 3 at the back, which is interesting. Let me try to find it. Okay, right here. Okay, so what he has here, so it's Donnarumma, left back Emerson Palmieri on Roma. He's a Brazilian, but he's actually Italian, and he's went over to Italy now.
Oh, he's eligible for Italy. Okay.
Yeah. So, and then the two center halves were Bonucci and Alessio Romagnoli, the Milan men. Alessandro Florenzi on the right, which I think is a good choice. Florenzi's a really, really good player. And in the two midfielders, they have Jorginho from Napoli and Lorenzo Pellegrini from Roma, which is interesting because you think that Verratti's up top, Verratti's behind the striker instead is what he has. So Pellegrini, Jorginho, like a double pivot in the midfield with Lorenzo Insigne, Marco Verratti, Antonio Candreva as the three, with Andrea Belotti up top.
Right.
Interesting. I don't know. I don't know. It's definitely a change. I don't think
Verratti played more forward in his early days at Pescara. So
yeah. I don't think I've ever seen the Azzurri play a 4-2-3-1 in my life. So I couldn't even imagine them playing 3-1. Right?
You know what? It's fun though. Is when you go and you find these old stories when teams fail to qualify or drop out of tournaments. You always see reports and stories about how their 11 will look in 4 years' time. And they're never right. They're always wrong.
I know.
Right? It's a fun thing to do. It's great, but someone always drops down and someone comes out of nowhere. It's great. I've done it numerous times in England, like some of these numerous failings and seeing top reporters putting together their dream England 11 for you. And like they're nothing like how it actually turns out.
Yeah, exactly. It's tough. Anyways, before I let you go, hey, do you think Milan could win the Europa League if they see Arsenal in the final?
Yeah, because Arsenal don't care about it, do they?
Yeah, they don't.
Although I'm sure if they get that far, they will care about it. But
yeah.
I want to see Milan back in the Champions League. You know, I said to you before that Italian football needs a strong AC Milan. Whether you're an Inter Milan fan, a Juve fan, it's really you want a strong AC Milan. It's good for the league and good for Italy and good for Europe as well. You want that brand back to where it should be. So I actually quite hope AC Milan do very well this year.
Of course, yeah. And James, it was an absolute honor to have you on. I really, really appreciate it. I've been watching you on my TV when I watch Big Guy. I just kind of watch for entertainment, but I've been watching on my TV for years. So it's just an honor to have you on. I really, really appreciate it.
No, thank you, Luca. Thanks a lot, and Jürgen, you too. I really enjoyed that. Anytime.
Awesome. Yeah, I will have you on again.
For sure, mate.
For sure. All right. See you later.
See ya.
So thank you to James for coming on. He's it's a really big thing for us. He's a big in Canada, so it's really big to have a guy like James Sharman on the show. So now we kind of change things over just to Milan now. No more Azzurri talk. Milan, big match tomorrow. Milan-Napoli, and now I bring in my friend Antonio from the States. He's a New York Islander fan too. Antonio, big Napoli fan. Antonio, what's going on, man? How's it going?
What's up, man? Thanks for having me.
No worries, man. I didn't get a how are you. Could you give me a how are you?
This one's for at JP Newsy. How are you?
Okay, so Antonio, I'm with my friend Jürgen here too. Jürgen is my buddy Antonio.
How's it going?
What's up, man?
Meeting everybody on the TMG Podcast. Awesome.
All right.
Anyways, big match tomorrow. Obviously it's big for both teams because Napoli want to keep pace. They want to stay atop the Serie A and their Scudetto hopes, and Milan just need to get back into the race, really. So Antonio, what is the projected Napoli lineup looking like for tomorrow? Have you seen anything?
I'm hoping for a little bit of rotation tomorrow, more than usual, because we know how stubborn Sadi is with that rotation. But
sure.
just because we got a big game coming up in the Champions League, it's a must-win against Shakhtar if we want to advance. And I know Napoli hasn't really been caring too much about Champions League, but it would be nice to get out of the group at least. But so with that being said, I think a little rotation. Obviously, you can still stick with the 4-3-3 with Hizai, Koulibaly, Albiol, and Mario Rui, obviously because of the Gulam incident. And then in the midfield, we'll probably see Zielinski instead of Alan next to. I'm assuming that Diawara and Zielinski are going to get the start against Milan over Jorginho and Alan just because of the Champions League.
Oh, maybe it is a must-win for you guys. So yeah.
Yeah. So, but Hamzik obviously is going to play at least his 60 minutes, and then up top they don't really rotate much. So obviously, I still think we're going to see Insigne, Mertens, and Cayón.
Okay. Yeah, and with that 4-3, I mean, we all know how Sadi plays. How Sadi ball. We all know it. Milan's predicted line. I'll tell you, and you can tell me what you think your best matchups are. So the predicted Milan lineup right now, and this is the updated one from Milan News. So like it's a little different. It's a 4-4-1-1. So we'll go with obviously Donnarumma and net with Borini, Bonucci, Musacchio, Romagnoli at left back.
Mm-hmm.
With who we got? We got Montolivo or Kessi, Montolivo, Locatelli, and Giacomo Bonaventura. With Suso right behind the striker, Kalinic.
Okay. Who's the right mid?
The right mid is Kessi.
Oh, what the? Montella again with his playing players out of position, man. It's gonna.
The midfield is, like I said, they say it's a 4-4-1-1, but it might switch in game.
That can easily be a 5, like a 3 at the back.
Yeah,
could just move Romagnoli in and then have Bonaventura wing back.
Yeah, and that's why they're benching Ricardo Rodriguez for Locatelli basically. So they're putting an extra midfielder in there. Well, tell us today.
I don't understand why we're playing Montolivo against Napoli. That makes no sense to me. He's going to get overrun.
I don't understand why Montolivo is still relevant. I really.
No, nobody wants to buy him. Probably that's why.
I mean, the way Napoli moves the ball in that midfield, he's going to be gassed after 20 minutes.
I know.
100%. He's going to get overrun completely.
You know what the problem is though? Lucas Biglia is not fit enough, so that's why Montolivo's playing.
Okay.
And that's the thing. It's like we have a little bit of depth there. Like it goes Biglia and Locatelli then Montolivo basically, but Montolivo and Locatelli both playing. So, I don't know. It's interesting because Montolivo, he's been around for a long time, but he obviously with so many injuries, he doesn't have the legs anymore, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, his injury. It's really sad with him because we mentioned it before, but when we signed him. He was one of the best midfielders in the league, but that first injury just ruined him.
Yeah, it sucks because he's not excuse me. He's a pretty good guy. Like the players seem like they like him, but he's quality's just not there. But again, it's the lineup. The game is played on the pitch. I mean, what I'm going to tell you, we can only talk about it so much, but. I can easily switch to a 3-5-2, I guess. I can put it through or a 3-4-3 if Suso. It could be a 3-4-3 too. Remember that. If Kessi plays right, if Kessi wants to play right wing back. Actually, no. What am I saying? Borini will play right wing back. What am I saying? So it could be a 3-4-3 as well because Suso and Bonaventura could be the two wingers with Kalinic, right? So I think it's
going to be the left wing back.
Bonaventura.
Nobody. If Bonaventura is the left wing, you can't have him as left wing back. There's nobody in the squad for left wing back.
It'd be Montolivo.
I mean, Callahan's kind of brain dead, so that wouldn't be the worst.
Yeah.
But
so
it'd still be bad.
The biggest matchup I have here, and if Suso does drift up to the right side, would be Suso versus Mario Rui.
Yeah, that scares the hell out of me.
I think Suso would probably rip Mario Rui apart.
Yeah, he would. Mario Rui is not that good, so he would.
Yeah.
But it sucks because Gulam got injured. He was really good. But I think that's the only matchup.
The thing I'm worried about is if they move Husai to left back and use Maggio at right back, because then Husai could probably contain Suso fairly well.
That's also what I was thinking, but I don't think they're going to do that. If anything, they'll play Maggio in the Champions League because Mario Rui was hurt, so they don't have him on the Champions League roster, so they can't even rotate him.
Then he has to play, yeah.
Right. That's the only reason I said I think that Mario Rui is going to play tomorrow.
Well, that's good for us at least.
Yeah, I think that's the match. I mean, here's the thing though: could Bonaventura also have his way with Husai?
Yeah.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
Well, it's like a 50-50.
It's very true. I think when his eye is on his game, I think he's the best right back in the league.
Yeah, 100%.
There is just some games where he is literally brain dead.
Yeah.
There's some games where he has two left feet.
Yeah. Okay. I know I saw some Napoli fans kind of give him a little hate. After the Man City game and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Too.
Which I mean,
I thought he was one of the better performers in the Man City game. Him and Insigne.
Insigne always.
Yeah, but you're all. Maybe, yeah, but but you're Albanian. Of course, if an Albanian guy,
Yo, okay, listen. I don't just overrate every Albanian. I love Memushai, but he's been garbage this year with Benevento. So like, if they've been garbage, I'll call it out. But
who? Wait, is he on Benevento?
Memushai, yeah, he's on loan with option or obligation or something.
Wait, no, Benevento's the biggest team in Campania.
Dude,
Benevento
so
haven't
bad.
won a single game.
Benevento
bad.
is absolutely Campania, the biggest club in the region.
It's so bad.
Honestly,
My family, it's sad because my family's like literally from where my town is in Italy. If you drive up the mountain, you're already in Benevento.
Are you?
Yeah,
Okay,
legit.
okay, Ento, that means you should be a Benevento fan. What are you doing?
Napoli comes first for me, but
No, it's Benevento, the biggest team in the region. Like I was joking with Adam Ahmed. We were talking one day in the future. We're gonna go to Italy. We're gonna buy like a small team. We're just gonna go watch them against like a big team somewhere, and we're just gonna scream the whole game for random players. Like if we go like last year, if I was to go watch a Crotone match, I'd be like Diego Facinelli's biggest fan. Like that.
Yeah, we'll go
just screaming every single time. Like, that'd be great. Anyway, so here's the thing too. We were talking about in the Italian Football Daily podcast too. Insigne was, well, he's always dangerous, of course. He's going to be dangerous. However, to run with him, it'd be Borini because Borini can run. Obviously Insigne will beat him one-on-one, but Borini has like he literally crushed every single record in the Milan fitness test. So
wow.
He's pretty. Yeah, he's actually developed into a nice wing back. He's actually done really, really well when we put him there.
That's probably why he moved from striker to there.
Yeah, he literally just runs the whole game. So I mean, it's kind of I guess
defensively
the best
and even offensively, he's not the best, but like he makes up for it with his energy, I guess.
Yeah.
So like even when he like misplaces something, he'll hustle back. So it's like it's a mistake, but he corrects it in a way so it's not. I don't know. He's been doing an okay job playing out of position.
Those are the players that are so underrated in this game today. Like those are the players that wins, ties, or loses games in the last 10 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, we had to get a last-minute winner against Rijeka, and he was the one who chipped it in. So
that was a great ball for Cutrone, yeah, for sure. The only thing is, and what I'm thinking, could Nikola Kalinic give like someone like Raul Albiol some problems with this?
Raul Albiol, yes. Koulibaly,
if you've seen, Koulibaly physically can handle Kalinic, but if you've seen, Kalinic is just deadly in the air. Kalinic is deadly in the area regardless.
Yes.
But if you've seen Albiol's goals that he let in on men he was marking, like over 50% of them have come from the air.
Yeah.
Like he lost that aggressiveness to win balls in the air, especially in the Champions League. He let 2 in against Real Madrid last year.
I remember that.
He was terrible against City.
Yeah, terrible against City in the air. They let in 2. One was a corner, one was a cross, or maybe both were corners, honestly. But if you look at, I honestly, if Koulibaly is not marking Kalinic, we're gonna have some problems.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, I think Kalinic could definitely because again, Kalinic is one of those players that kind of he'll throw his body at anything in the air to kind of like. And I like Kalinic. A lot of Milan fans don't, but
I've always been a fan of Kalinic ever since he came into the league.
I'd rather Andre Silva play.
Yeah, but I think he's your typical number 9, right? Typical a bomber.
Yeah, like old school.
Old school, like he's a big number 9 who holds the ball up well and whatever. And of course, I do wish Andre Silva. He hasn't scored a Serie A goal yet, but he hasn't got any minutes.
Barely given any minutes, though.
He hasn't got any minutes, so it sucks because, it's embarrassing he hasn't scored a goal, but he only has 200 minutes. So what is he gonna do with 200 minutes? Like, you know what I mean? Like it's kind of, but I'm sure he'll come on if we go down 1-0. Put it this way: if we go down 1-0 early, game's over.
Yeah, I think so.
The longest, the more it stays 0-0 is more in Milan's favor because they can always snatch a lucky one kind of thing.
Yeah.
But if it goes 1-0 early, that match is over.
Another thing in our favor though is Pepe Reina's pretty garbage.
Yeah, he's not very good.
If Sousa can get space for like a nice little curler from outside of the box, like it could sneak in. So
yeah, I bet if we brought on Gonzalo here, he wouldn't like he doesn't like Pepe Reina.
No, it's not even just him, man. I was waiting for a keeper all summer and it never came.
Yeah,
because I think
guys like
I think a center back and a goalkeeper, if Napoli can bring in those two players in the January transfer window, they have the league on lock. Like,
but the thing is, like the only thing I'll give Pepe Reina is that he is a huge commander coming outside the back. You know what I mean? Like if you watch like 90% of Napoli's goals, it started with him. Like it's crazy. But just defensively, yeah, I mean, like he's a big fan and I love it. But defensively, he's literally 5 years past his prime defensively.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Well, I mean, he's the reason you lost against Shakhtar in the first game, right?
I'll even say it, not 100% him, but he's the reason we didn't win the Scudetto last year.
You think so?
Yeah, probably. You'd have to if you think about it. Yeah.
He's like the amount of games we lost and tied last year off of a Reina mistake. If you recalculate those points in the last year, we win the league by like 6 points.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
It's crazy.
You're right there. People say Serie A's a one-team league. But wouldn't Roma and Napoli within 4 or 5 points of was it 4 to 5 points of Juve?
How about
that's 4 or 5 points within before VAR? So they had the refs
before VAR.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
With VAR, their cheating is reduced a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
I don't want to get into Calciopoli. I don't want to get into Calciopoli stuff. However, but I think you know what, and honestly, like I can't even watch the match. Unfortunately, I have to work. But you know what? It may be a blessing in disguise.
It'll probably be the better because I'm thinking we'll probably lose like 2-0.
Yeah. The only thing I'm worried about too is that Milan are way better away from home for some reason.
Yeah, we are better away from home. It's weird, isn't it? Another thing too, like matchup wise, do you think that will Mertens and Bonucci, will that be a matchup all game?
Mertens, the only center backs he struggled against are very physical center backs because of his size. So again, that Bonucci matchup with Mertens scares me. Insigne, I'm not really worried about because he catches his space on the outside, Callejon just running back and forth. But Mertens likes to receive the ball and then play out. So if he's getting harassed by a bigger center back, that's where Mertens has his problems.
Yeah, I think you might be okay with like Musacchio. Musacchio's a smaller defender.
Yeah.
But Bonucci's, he's more aggressive. And Bonucci,
And I feel like Bonucci found his form again too.
Yeah, he played well against Sassuolo, and he played well in the 2 Azzurri games. So I mean,
he did play well in both games.
So I think, and no one, if anybody said that Bonucci was finished, obviously they don't know anything about Calcio.
No. Listen, in Serie A, it's so tactical. You can't just go to the next team and be good again. Look how long it took Higuain to find his form again, and he's one of the best strikers in the world. Know?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know if he's one of the best strikers in the world anymore. He's not really scoring that many goals.
And at least at the point that he went, he was. Now,
But and then you look at someone like Edin Dzeko who came to Roma. He had a crap first season. Look at him now; he scores every game.
That's what I'm saying. You can't just go into Serie A. You can't even go to a different team in Serie A and just start performing. It doesn't work like that.
Yeah, it's a different beast from like other teams. Because like with other leagues, it's more of like a situational thing, like having to get used to the culture and all that stuff and your teammates. But like you have the added pressure of specific tactics between teams in Serie A. So it's
for sure. So. I think it's going to be, obviously Montella said today that, they have to be, and Milan are going to come up with an aggressive style, and they're going to come out aggressive, and they're going to have to cut out passing lanes. Sadi Sadismo creates. And it's, I don't know, it'll be interesting to see because, remember last year, Napoli went up 2-0. We came back. Niang scored. Suso scored a beautiful goal.
Yeah, I remember that game.
And then Callejon scored a 3-2 when Deschilio lost his man, and then there's 4-2 because of the own goal, whatever. And then, so, it could be another high-scoring game, and we are better away. And I think we do have some. We are desperate in our play style because we have to start winning some games.
Yes. So
I think we're gonna come out, and a few of the guys are rested too. So we'll see. I think it should be a good game. Jurgen, what is your prediction? Realistic prediction and goal scorers too. I'll write it down.
I think 2-0. It could be 3, but I think 2-0 is probably a bit more realistic. Goal scorers probably Insigne with at least 1. Mertens, if he can get past Musacchio, like if depending on who's marking him,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bonucci's more physical than Musacchio. So if he can, get around Musacchio, I think he could get another goal. But I think Insigne with one for sure, maybe two.
Mhm.
But I think two, no. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Ando. And
So
I call you Ando. Like why not? Like why do you? It's Ando. Why do you?
yeah, I know. It's just I don't know. It's just how my friends started calling in ever since. I mean, I can't tell 3,000 people now that they can't call me that. But I'm gonna say 3-1 here for Napoli.
Who
I'm gonna
scored?
say 3-1. I'm gonna give 2 to Insigne. I'm gonna give 1 to Hamzik, and then I'm gonna give 1 to Suso.
Wait, you think Ham's gonna tie Maradona's record?
I think Hamzik this game against Milan. Hamzik has always played well against Milan.
Yeah, he has. But
Insigne-
he's been really bad lately.
He has been. I think he's got that record in his head, and once he gets that stupid goal, he's gonna be fired.
You're right. I think so. I think it's just that. I think it's all a head game, right? It's a mind game.
It's all a mind game right now. I'm just waiting for that goal, and it's not coming.
Yeah, I don't know. It's gonna be tight. Anyway, so I guess we're gonna wrap things up now. My prediction, I think it's gonna be. I'm gonna say 2-1 Napoli. I think it's gonna be a 2-0 game, and then Milan will score like in the 70th and make it interesting, and then not find one. Milan have a problem scoring goals, and in the final third, that's the issue. Kind of the same as the Azzurri. They're really bad. Like it's just that final pass. They'll build it up, and that final pass will be off, or that shot will be wide. I'm hoping we see a little bit of Andre Silva because I know Kalinic is good, but I don't know if he's good for 90 minutes. So. Yeah, I think it's about it. In the preview for Napoli, Milan, 2:45 tomorrow. It's a big game. Again, and Ento, thanks for coming on. I know this is your podcast debut, right? You've never been on a podcast.
No, I've never been on one. This is awesome. So thank you.
Well, I'll definitely bring you on later in the season when we play you guys again.
No doubt.
Napoli guy for sure.
Awesome.
So appreciate you having you on, man. Thanks for coming out.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me. Good luck tomorrow, guys.
Thanks, buddy. You too. Ciao.
All right, ciao.
And Jurgen, it's an honor for you coming on again. This is the third admin of the Milan guys, so definitely follow him on Twitter. I'll tag him in the tweet. Remember, guys, we're on iTunes. We're on YouTube here. We're on iTunes. We're on Google Play. So iPhone, Android, we're on everything now.
Yeah, man, it's big time now.
You can download. You can download it. You can do whatever you want. It's time. We're every there. Subscribe to us. Give us a good review, and DM us any questions or concerns or anything like that. Anyways, guys, I'm Luca LaPorta. Another episode of Milan Guys. Ciao for now, Jurgen. Thanks a lot, and Forza Milan tomorrow. Ciao, guys.
Forza Milan.